Yo, what's up guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be talking about the differences that I noticed when shooting 1080p and 4K footage with my Canon R6. Now to me, this is kind of really like the dirty little secret about the Canon R6. Now, most of us already know at this point that if you're going to shoot in 4K, you're going to have some time limits that you're going to have to adhere to because the camera will overheat if you shoot over 30 minutes when shooting 4K. Now, like it, hate it, whatever, it's the reality of the camera. We've talked about it, we've covered it, everybody knows about it at this point. What a lot of people don't realize is that if you have to default back to 1080p footage because you've now overheated shooting 4K, using the 1080p footage, you're going to notice that there's a significant amount of more noise that comes out of the image when you're using C-Log. Now, when you don't use C-Log and you shoot 8-bit, I've noticed that there must be some type of internal noise reduction happening in the camera because all that noise just disappears. But when you're shooting C-Log and when you're shooting 1080p, you're going to have a significant amount of more noise showing up in your image when shooting at the exact same settings versus 4K. And I thought that was really weird and really disappointing because, like I said, in my mind, I know that it's okay to not always shoot in 4K. A lot of times I'm fine shooting in 1080p. Like even right now, I'd be fine shooting in 1080p. But if I need to default back to 1080p footage when I overheat with this camera, now I've got to worry about all the additional noise that's going to come, even if I use the exact same settings that I was shooting in 4K. Again, I thought that was really weird and very disappointing knowing that that's going to be the footage that I need to default back to when I overheat. I don't see a lot of people talking about it, and I'm really surprised that not more people have complained about it. It's not like a huge deal. Of course you can deal with noise in post. You could use something like Neat Video and scrub the noise out of there, but then you're sacrificing sharpness and image quality. And again, it's just something that for some reason I can't understand why it's happening. I don't understand why a lower resolution image is causing more noise out of the sensor. It's diminishing the high ISO performance that I'm getting from the sensor. I guess maybe it's because it's cropping in and now the noise isn't maybe more noise, but the noise is larger because it's a smaller part of the sensor. I don't even know if that's right. I definitely noticed that when shooting, even if I expose it correctly, there's a lot of noise in the shadows when I'm using C-Log. Now again, you can default back to the 8-bit 1080p footage, which is actually what I usually do, knowing this. So if you do that, you're not going to have those noise issues because, again, I do believe there must be an internal noise reduction being baked in there when shooting 8-bit. But now, you know, you're shooting lower resolution, you're shooting at lower bit rate, so now you're not going to have any flexibility in post as far as your colors. It's just really, really handicapped footage that you're going to have to shoot with when you hit those 4K overheat limits. And the other thing that you want to be aware of is that when the Canon R6 does overheat, there's a significant amount of time that you have to wait before you're going to be able to shoot a full 30 minutes again. Now, when I tested it outdoors in a decent amount of heat, it was over an hour that it took to cool down and give me a full 30 minutes of recording time back. Understand that, you know, 1, Canon R6 overheats in 4K. 2, there's a significant amount of time you have to wait when it does overheat to get your 4K shooting back. 3, when you shoot in 1080p, you're getting a significant amount more noise in the image than you would be when shooting with the same settings that you would in 4K. So all of these things tied together are just things that, again, I think people should be aware of. I love my Canon R6, I use it every day, it's what I create all of my content with, and it's the best camera that I've ever owned by far. But these are all very real things that people should be aware of if they're thinking about purchasing a Canon R6. Anyway guys, I hope this video helped people out a little bit. If it did, go below, subscribe, click the notification bell, and I'll see you on my next video.